Alright, hey guys, so today I'm going to take you on a little field trip to Citgo, and I'm going to discuss the impacts and the effects that these sanctions on Venezuela are having on not only the Venezuelan people, but on our economy as well. And kind of take you down the path of what's actually going on, because I see that a lot of people still don't really understand, which makes, I completely understand. But let's go, and I'm going to take a little trip there. So many people have the impression that it's just because they put all their chips on their oil, and so, well, they screwed themselves. Okay, well, no, that's not exactly true, but we could look at it that way. But this is what happened. They send their oil here, get it refined at Citgo and Valero, which they own, but due to the sanctions, we can't send the money to them. Isn't that sad? It's terrible. So it's essentially like, so if you've ever had anything made, like specially made or something like that, maybe monogrammed, or a special fitting for whatever, you order it and then you pay for it whenever they make it. A house or whatever, even a small item that you've had engraved, okay? You go pick it up and you pay for it. Well, that's what's going on. We're not paying for it. So every time you go get gas at Citgo and at Valero, you're paying for the gas, but the money should be going back to Venezuela, but our government, the U.S. government, is holding on to that money. Yeah. Starving the people, if that's what you want to consider it. Starving them. They don't have their medicines and all of this because of that thing. There are tons of things that contributed to this, but the majority of it is due to the sanctions. We have the Bank of England holding their gold. We all send our gold somewhere, Switzerland, or all these places that they're supposed to be safe, right? Well, when you ask for it back, you're supposed to get it back. That's not happening. They're not giving it back because they don't want to be on our bad list because we put sanctions on them. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you going to the bank, putting money in there, going to withdraw it, and they say, sorry. The government says, like the IRS or something along those lines, says, we can't give it back to you because you've been bad. Alright, since it's Saturday, I'm not sure if I'll actually be able to talk to anybody that's in control of anything, but what I am seeing in many of my comments and just in the mainstream media is just either disinformation, or like in my comments, people are just confused about what's going on. Like I had someone comment that it's no big deal, we only received 9 million barrels of oil from Venezuela, something along those lines. That's completely false. We receive around 700 to 800,000 barrels a day. Obviously it does fluctuate, but even with all these sanctions and everything, this whole time we have still continued to take their oil. And then I had people say, well, nobody wants their oil because it's thick and ours is considered sweet oil. That is partially true. They do want our oil because it doesn't have to be refined as much. But here's the kicker that people don't understand. The thing is, the refineries that make up the large amount of the Gulf Coast and they have refineries in a few other places, but mainly along the Gulf Coast. The money is for refining. And being that you have to do extra refining on the oil that's called, I think the Venezuelan oil is called Mars, or one of them is called Mars. It needs a special detergent. It needs a special equipment, which we have. Hence why we get their oil and we refine it, which keeps a lot of people employed. Well, also, while I'm not there yet, I want to remind you that I have made a playlist of all of my Venezuela videos. Well, most of them. I believe it's most of them. And you can check those out. I will put the link to the entire playlist because a lot of people just are still confused. And I'm not faulting anybody over this because the mainstream media and our government has been all touting this same narrative, okay? And so it's understandable that you don't understand it. It's hard to find the information. It's hours and hours of research and looking into where the actual sources are. But like I've always said, anytime that you see CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all the mainstream media, the Democrats and the Republicans all touting the same narrative, you should question it for sure. Because why would they agree on something? If we say that they're so left-leaning or this and that, well, shouldn't the Democrats just be like all about it? They should say, look, see? No, they're not, because they are all controlled by, we all know who they're controlled by, and they all want other people's oil, gold, and they want them to be part of the central banking system, which Venezuela does not have, okay? Another thing that I continue seeing parroted is that Maduro was not democratically elected and this and that. He absolutely was, twice. He has not killed his opposition. Juan Guaido, random guy named Juan, is still walking around the streets of Venezuela. He actually had a meeting with President Maduro. If Maduro was a crazy psycho dictator, I said this in another video, I believe, wouldn't they have just offed with him and said, go away, I mean, you're done? It's not North Korea. It's not China. Okay? And in a minute, I'm going to, after we go to Citgo or whatever, I'm going to explain to you all of the socialism that we have in our country. We are actually far, far more socialist than Venezuela has ever been. Ever. Alright, here we are at the Citgo refinery, right behind me. You can see it. It's kind of bright out. But I'm going to see if there's anybody that we can talk to. But I just wanted to show you just one of the refineries that is taking a lot of Venezuelan oil that we are using here, and we also are exporting it after we refine it, which is very huge for our economy. It doesn't just affect the Venezuelan people that we are not giving their money back. It affects everyone, because these sanctions could affect everyone's jobs around here. And when you think about that, it's not just the people that work at these refineries. It's also the people that, you know, the wives that work here, or, you know, the hospitals that are running, and all of the restaurants. All of these things come with refineries coming into your town, just like any other type of big corporation. And that's that's what I'm trying to get across to everyone. This affects so many things. I'm trying to get the Citgo sign right there. But, okay, so there wasn't any, like, important people that would come on camera and talk about the detergents and everything, but I kind of got the picture. So it's essentially what I've been saying. But so now what I want to talk about is how America is more socialist than Venezuela has ever been, and we don't know it. And why don't we know that? Well, because they don't want us to know it, because it's an upside down type of socialist program we've got going on here. It's socialism for the top and crony capitalism mixed with Marxism, mixed with confuse the entire nationism. Alright, so right here I just want to show you all of the socialist programs that we have here in America. So anything that is taxed, licensed, inspected, regulated, let me see, subsidized, insured, all of those things are socialist programs. So if you think about all of the things in your life every day, just every day, or if you're building a house, or if you've ever owned a business, you know that these things, there's so many. You have to have a license to fish. You have to have a license to hunt. You have to have a license to carry a weapon. You have to have, you're taxed on everything. And you can have all of your possessions taken away from you if you don't pay your taxes. That does not happen in Venezuela, okay? They do that to the top echelon people when they screw them over, and that's where essentially the PSYOP began. It's when Chavez realized that the big oil was taking advantage of their country. See, in other countries, the oil is nationalized. Essentially, if you know anything about Alaska, they do a resource sharing type of thing. I have a little thing right here. But what they do is, in all of these OPEC countries, the resources belong to... Alright, sorry, I don't know, my phone died. So, anyway, what I was getting at is the resources, the natural resources belong to the country, in which that's how they fund their military, their highway. All of these programs that we think that, oh my God, the taxpayer is going to have to pay for. No, that's not how it works. That's how they want you to think it works, because they don't want to tell you that in other countries, the natural resources are shared with the community. Anyway, just like when they overthrew Gaddafi in Libya. Are all programs perfect? Obviously not. Are some governments corrupt? Of course they are. Have we overthrown many of them? Yes, we have. But I want y'all to take a look at this. Do y'all remember why we seceded from England and had our revolution? Taxation without representation. This is what we were fighting for. To not be taxed on tea, paper, sugar, and certain imports. It's what our forefathers fought for. And this is where we are now. The media and the government has been manipulating us for far too long. And if you continue with this, oh, but I saw it here, whatever. If you don't open your mind, you will continue to be victim to this, and will just overrun countries, and you won't understand why our sons and daughters will come home in body bags. Like always, using American sons and daughters as cannon fodder. Anyway, y'all like, share, subscribe. I hope this made sense. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.